Welcome to Managing Your Back Office. Today is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Thank you everyone for making the time to join. So I'm going to introduce our speaker for today. We have the knowledgeable and wonderful Whitney White, who is owner, founder, and accountant at Whitney White Accounting and Notary. She holds a bachelor's degree from Southern University and a master's degree from Gardner-Webb University. She prides herself in working with individuals and small businesses to understand the importance of their financial health and the true functionality of their businesses. We don't just look at numbers, we educate each of our clients. Outside of work, she is active in her community by serving nonprofit boards as their treasurer, as well as enjoying the journey of being a mom to her 12-year-old son, Caden. I want to thank Whitney for joining us today, and I'm going to hand over the presentation to her. Whitney, are you ready?
So managing your back office. What we're going to go over today is the tax and financial risk of poor documentation, how to properly record, how proper record keeping can save you time and money, strategies to streamline your administrative process, methods of leveraging technology for efficient back office management, and best practice for organizing project-related paperwork, and how to accurately record how accurate records can help you make data-driven business decisions. So the first one is going to be the tax and financial risk of poor documentations. So for taxes, you have penalties and interest. So if you're filing late or sales tax instances, you will be required to pay penalties and interest if your information is not correct or if it is late or poorly documented. Increased risk for audits. Again, if you are not documenting your expenses or your income or not reporting all of your income, this is going to definitely increase that risk of an audit. Difficulty justifying deductions. A lot of business owners go through this where they are kind of just saying, well, we're going to round up our expenses, and there's no justification, no receipts, no bank data. Non-compliance. For construction or any other business, you either, again, have to file for sales taxes or you need to file by a certain date, or there's additional information you need to file. So your business will not be compliant. Delayed or incorrect invoicing, which again, a lot of small businesses, big businesses run into this issue. Delayed invoicing causes the risk for your taxes as well because you are not reporting the correct income, which also rolls into how your cash flow is and how it operates. And late tax filing, which again rolls back up to your penalties and interest. The financial risk factors. So this is financial mismanagement. Again, if you don't have the correct income or you do not have the correct expenses, you are not able to look at your financials correctly. This is critical when you are running your small business so that you understand exactly what is going on. Again, looking at your financial health of your business. Are you understanding if you are profitable or if you are at a loss? Inaccurate financial statements rolls right back into this one. Difficulty tracking cash flow. If you are not accurately invoicing or there's an error, you're going to have an issue with tracking exactly how much cash flow you are coming in order to operate your business efficiently and effectively. Misclassifying expenses. So if you are either using a software or you are using pen and paper, doing it the manual way, misclassifying expenses can easily, it can affect if you are, again, a construction company and you have to do CBI forms, definitely with some that are minority businesses. If you're misclassifying these expenses, this can be crucial to basically the integrity of your business, also how you are able to write these off, or if you are definitely missing out on expenses that are deductible, or if you are classifying things that are not deductible. Absent internal controls. So internal controls are critical, even though a lot of small businesses, they have maybe their sole proprietors or LLCs. But if you do not have internal controls where you're either using a business account or you're using a software or you're tracking things, all of this can spiral out of control where basically you don't know which way from left or right. So basically anything can, you have your AP, all your AR, nothing is controlled. Missed financial opportunities. Again, so this is a big one for small businesses. A lot of businesses think that, yes, the first couple years we want to see a loss. This has been advised to them. But if you are not effectively looking at your financial health of your business, or you are not seeing, where the deficit is of why you are actually showing a loss, this can be a huge risk for you because you can be missing out on the opportunity for loans, grants, or if you're having to get a loan for a property or a line of credit. This is very critical and crucial if you do not have these controls in place. So the next one is how proper record keeping can save you time and money. Money saving opportunities. So a lot of people look at bookkeeping or accounting costs as, oh, we can't afford it. But again, that rolls into basically how you're looking at your financials, how you're filing your taxes. So monthly bookkeeping can range from $150 to $1,000 a month based on the complexity of your books. Yearly cleanup costs can range you from an hourly cost of a couple hundred dollars to several $1,000s, depending on the depth of the cleanup and the urgency. So if you look at the difference, yes, you're going to spend money every month, but you're also getting your financials. You're looking at your expenses, your income every month, versus waiting until the end of the year to actually rush and get all of this done. And then you're actually going to be putting out more. And then it's also going to be more of a stressor and a headache for you as well. You're able to produce a timely and accurate tax return. So again, going back to the previous slides, if you're able to produce this, you're saving money on penalties and interest. Cash flow management. You're saving money because you're able to see how your cash is coming in. You're also able to say, okay, I've invoiced this client, they haven't paid, or maybe you missed the invoice. You're effectively able to look at your invoicing. Reduced errors. So again, we're looking at expenses. So if you're looking to say, okay, this is actually deductible, you're able to catch these errors monthly versus catching them at the end of the year. Improve budgeting and forecasting. This is critical for small businesses and large businesses. Budgeting allows you to look at your prior year and actually see, okay, what was good and what was bad. So if you are a company that does markups or uses multipliers, this is allowing you to effectively look at your business as a whole to say, okay, we need to cut back on this cost, or we need to increase our markups in order to show profit. But if you are not effectively tracking any of this information, you will not be able to look at this picture or project any of these items. Time saving. So this will save you time with tax filing. So this is just a screenshot. Hopefully everyone knows what their tax filing status is and when they are supposed to file. So sole proprietors, single member LLCs, they file on a Schedule C. They are required to file by April 15th or file an extension by April 15th. If not, you will be hit with penalties and interest. A C corporation is also required to file by April 15th. Dual member LLCs and S corporations are required to file by March 15th. If you are an S corporation and have not filed, you need to file an extension so that you are not hit with an excessive amount of penalties and interest. Time saving also, when having proper documentation, it improves your decision making. So again, we're going back to if you need to get a loan, if you're needing to make tax filing decisions. Also, having proper documentation goes back to the reduced audits. Strategies to streamline your administrative process. So processes and technology. So if you have internal controls, again, internal controls can be as simple as having a software. If you have a bookkeeper, basically your checks and balances, you have someone looking over your expenses, but you're also giving the green light to say this looks correct. So having a second set of eyes. Also having, a clear set of SOPs in place as well. Accounting system and software is putting those in place as far as, again, tracking all of your information, because as much as we like to keep up with receipts, sometimes that is not always feasible. Receipts get lost and we're not always going to track those. Invoicing and payment processing. So again, some people like to do the handwriting invoicing, but actually having a software or something in place where you're able to say, okay, this is an invoice that is due in 30 days or due upon receipt. And the system is actually effectively tracking that for you, gives you a clear picture of when your invoicing is due, exactly how your collection process looks, and also being able to process those payments for you or be able to track them. So again, you know what your cash flow looks like. So, and then task delegation. So this is kind of incorporating what your internal controls looks like. So if you are a small business, but you do have employees, this allows you to delegate HR tasks, payroll tasks, again, so that streamlines that process so you do not have a bottleneck effect within your company. So basically, again, you have someone looking at your accounting, you have someone looking at your payroll, you have someone looking at your invoices. So none of these things get swept under the rug and you're missing out on opportunities or your company is facing a severe disadvantage. Implementing a payroll software or a payroll system, and having a centralized communication. So again, as small business owners, some people have adopted, especially for sole proprietors, they're mainly looked at as freelancers. So they're like, okay, I can incorporate, my personal email or like my Google Drive with my business. So basically having a centralized communication, that's where all of your information and all of this is housed. So basically you have nothing that is going to fall between the cracks. Best practices for organizing project-related paperwork. So establish a clear guideline and contract. So for contract-based companies and businesses, this is you looking at what your clear guidelines and contracts are. So that's looking at how are you going to be invoicing them monthly? If you are going to be paying consultants and contractors, how does this look? How are you supposed to pay them? Again, with contractors, you need to make sure if you do have a CBI, if they are minority based, are you supposed to pay them within 15 days, within 30 days, so that you are compliant? Implement versions and controls and change orders. So again, housing these items and have a clear, concise version of these allows you to have a clear practice for organizing these project-related paperworks. Ensure contract and documents are accessible. So again, if you have a change order, is it accessible for you to get in case your client asks, or if you need to provide backup for this as well. And then just maintaining security for all of this information. How accurate records can help you make business data-driven business decisions. So accurate record keeping is critical for data-driven decisions because they provide a reliable foundation. Again, just going back to the few slides that we talked about, if you do not have clear financials or clear records, how are you able to get a line of credit for your business? How are you able to, with a lot of contracts, how are you able to say that you are a stable company? So
Whitney,
provide.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to tell everyone, please make sure you're asking questions. It's a lot of information and tax season is coming up and you have an expert on the line right now. That was all.
Okay. So having this information, so you're providing a foundation for informed decisions. Again, when you're going up for contracts or you are working with other clients or things like that, you need to make sure that your business presents as a firm business. So you have enhanced efficiency and productivity. So basically it's a confident boost. Like when you're knowing that your business is running and operating in the correct way, you're able again to make these sound decisions. Improve customer and vendor experience. So again, if you are a contractor who has CBI or minority businesses, or just vendors who like to be paid due upon receipt or 15, 30 days, imagine if you are not paying them and you are on their collection side. um, that is not going to be good for you. And then that is also going to be a bad look for, other people who are wanting to possibly, use you as a vendor, or they want to work with you. So again, these items are very crucial. And then this also either is good or bad if you have a competitive advantage. And that was it. So I kind of went through it fast, but I'm here for questions. If anyone has any questions. You're on mute, Raina.
We have a question in the chat. Should I worry if my CPA wants to file an extension to run my tax documents in years 1 and 2?
I would definitely ask why they're filing an extension. If you have all of your information in, I would ask why. Because if you do owe, you're still going to be hit with penalties and interest as of October 15th. So again, just one of the things with being, having that, managing your back office, when you do have that firm software and you're working with a bookkeeper, accountant, or CPA, they are able to do tax planning for you so that you're able to be proactive. So again, that's saving you time and money. So you're able to say, okay, quarter 1, quarter 2, where am I at? And where am I going to be in January when you go to file your taxes? So I would definitely just ask them, why are we continuously filing extensions? It doesn't hurt you if you don't owe, but if you are owing, it's going to continue to hurt you as far as the amount of money you're putting out.
Thank you. We have a question in the chat. What software is best to use as a small construction company?
Are you running invoices? Are you tracking projects? Exactly what are you doing with the construction? What is the layout of the company?
And when we have hand raised with Guillermo, I'm going to take you off mute and put you in the panelist room. Guillermo, are you ready to ask your question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, yes. My name is Guillermo Casillas, and I have a construction company called Rushmore Construction. And last year we landed a contract with the LAX or LAWA at the airport of Los Angeles. And so pretty much my background is in accounting department. So I know how to do those kind of stuff you mentioned, but it's just time consuming because I got to manage the project as well. So be in the field and outside doing payroll, doing compliance. I do have a question on the compliance side. Do you guys also do services for LCP tracker, submitting payroll for LCP tracker?
We do partner with someone who does payroll, so that takes that burden off of someone. But personally, I don't do payroll, but I do partner with someone who does that.
For the LCB tracker to submit
Yes.
payroll on there. Oh, perfect. Okay.
Okay,
And
thank
also,
you.
yeah.
Sorry,
No,
Guillermo.
that's
I
about
didn't
it.
mean to- Okay,
Yeah.
no worries. Thank you for asking. Okay, next we have Vincent, who's the follow-up to the software question. He was saying, Vincent and Clifford were interested in this question, but all of the above, so I'm assuming project management and the other topics you mentioned.
So QuickBooks Online is a very good software. I always promote it because it allows the owner to kind of be hands-on. So you can do things in the field, you can do things at home, but this also gives you the project job costing. It breaks down the invoices exactly how you need them. If you are actively tracking, it's kind of forecasting your employees to see exactly where you are project and budget wise, you're able to do that as well. Zoho is another good option as well, but cost effective wise, I would always recommend QuickBooks Online.
Thank you. Next we have, I'll take Andy. Is it hard to find a CPA that knows Constant and is willing to take on new clients? Any recommendations on where to find one?
Is it hard to find a CPA who is taking on new clients?
I think
I don't know the answer to that question. I think it's just you have to go with someone who you feel comfortable with, who is actually going to, I'm trying to find the right words, who is going to cater to your business, who is going to be responsive, and who is going to give you exactly what's needed. You don't want to work with someone who is not going to answer the questions, who is just going to take your information and not work in your best interest.
Thank you. How do you determine the need for a bookkeeper versus accountant versus CFO? Is amount of income determinant, years in business?
I think that goes back to the business owner's preference. So I have an accounting firm. I am an accountant. I offer bookkeeping services, but those are also accounting services. So I want to say it's based on the preference. So some business owners do get a CFO based on the complexity of the business. So if you're going into shares, things like that, you may need a CFO. But it's not based on the amount of income or the number of years in business. But when you are looking for accounting services, it is vital to interview and get an accountant who is going to have the best interest of you and your business at hand.
Okay, thank you. How can I make, Andy had another question. How can I make myself look good to grant and loan organizations?
That's looking at your financial health. So you need to look at the profitability of your business. You also need to look at how you are invoicing, how soon you're getting those invoices out, as well as how quick you are to collect these. Because again, looking at your cash flow statement, they're going to look at that as well. If your company is continuously at a loss, that is not going to be, it's not going to like you're a reputable business because you don't look like you are financial worthy. So just looking at how you can actually progressively show a profit so that you seem like you are loan worthy.
Thank you. Guillermo had another question. He had his hand raised.
Yes, so this is Guillermo again. You mentioned that you worked with QuickBooks before, and if so, do you guys have like a share?
You mean a share with QuickBooks?
Yes.
No.
Oh, you guys don't? Okay. Because I normally use QuickBooks Online, and what do? You give access to the person, and the person could see the accounts and stuff.
Right. So any accountant that you work with or any person that you work with, you can give them access. But I was thought you mean share like directly with QuickBooks. But any client that I work with that does use QuickBooks Online, they just give me QuickBooks access as the accountant. So again, that I have the accessibility to go in and work with the items that they need me to work with.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, we have Enrique. I've been with my CPA for years. Is there a lot involved when changing to a new accountant?
It is not. So I think depending on what your CPA has been doing for you. So if they have been doing taxes, it's rather easy to switch over that information. As far as bookkeeping, if they've been doing that, it's again just you and the new bookkeeper, accountant, CPA actually looking at how things have been going, kind of creating that relationship and open communication to see exactly what's needed and the expectations, but it's not difficult to switch over.
Thank you. Next, we have Keith Ash. What strategies would you suggest we implement to ensure prompt payment?
So what are your terms for your invoices? How are you sending out your invoices? Is there a contract in place? So I think those are questions, before I answer them, that I would like to know, then I can proceed from there.
I'll give Keith a moment to see if he has any follow-up on his question. I think that's it for questions. Going last call. Again, Taxi.
Sorry, Irene, Whitney, I just had a question. I'm wondering, if I'm a small contractor with a very limited budget, is there anywhere I can go to get low cost or no cost resources to help me manage my back office? It could be just general admin help or bookkeeping.
I think if you talk to an accountant, or you actually search, there may be some that are willing to work with you, to give you those extra resources. We can talk after and I can kind of give you some information. There is one site called Upwork, but you're going to be dealing with people maybe from overseas as well as here, but there may be hit or miss opportunities as far as communication and more room for error versus you actually building a personal, genuine relationship.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, we have another question from the chat. Can you share a little bit about what tax planning consists of?
Yes. So tax planning is looking at your income versus your expenses. So again, it's kind of looking at your profitability. So tax planning is looking to see exactly where you're going to be for the end of the year, if you're going to owe, or if you are going to actually show a profit, which you would have to pay on the taxes. So one of the things that I have been working with a lot of my clients with this year, tax planning, is say, okay, if you are going to show a profit and you're like, okay, I have a little bit extra money, I can actually go and invest in this opportunity or these additional expenses to reduce my tax liability. This is where we incorporate this tax planning. So we're planning throughout the year so that they are very much so aware of where they're going to be at the end of the year tax wise. So again, for each business that I work with, that situation is different. So if it's a real estate company, we're looking at if you want to buy additional real estate, if you have the cash flow to do that. Or if you don't, what does that look like where we can say, okay, you're going to be at a loss. How do we move that around for next year?
Thank you. Next, we have a contract. This is follow-up from Keith's earlier question. We have a contract. Our payment terms are typically set up as progress payments at milestones. Those payments are due upon receipt.
I would definitely implement a collections process. So again, depending on what software you are using, following up within 7 days. If it's just, hey, we're sending a reminder, phone calls, collections process. So if you are using a software, it's very effective to use a software because you can track the time it was sent and the time it was opened. But definitely implementing a collections process, or again, someone that can follow up on those collection calls for you.
Thank you. Next, I have a CPA that I've been working with for years. I relocated from New York to South Carolina. Should I look for a local CPA?
I would say that's depending on that's a personal decision. If you want someone that is local where you can be more personable with them, ask questions, I wouldn't say that it is critical to switch CPAs, but it's based on your preference as far as your personability. If you're wanting to have more access to them, that's going to be the determining factor.
Thank you. Next we have, when do you start tax planning and revisit it?
This is based on the business. So some clients like to look at it quarterly, some like to look at it biannually, depending on the cash flow. So there can be a scenario where someone's like, we need to look at it, every 2 months or something like that. But typically I look at it quarterly. And then we will revisit it in November before we actually close out the books, and start doing an official cleanup.
Oh, maybe I've been incorrect. Is business taxes due in May, or is that my assumption?
So, S Corp, dual member LLCs are due March 15th. So if anyone is those two entities, they are 10 days behind. But corporations and single member LLCs and sole proprietors are due on April 15th.
Okay, so I was halfway right, but I was like, have I been telling them that March? Well, some taxes are due in April. If you're a little bit behind, definitely contact Whitney. If you guys have any additional questions, again, now is a good time to ask. Oh, was there an extension due to the fires? This is for LA.
An extension for tax filing?
Yes.
No. But if you did experience devastation, that is something that you can claim on your taxes.
Thank you. Oh, okay, maybe there is an extension due to the fires, but I would look up the details for that and maybe get to know if you have to live in an impacted area or something like that. But just, I think going off what Whitney said, assume that there's not one and file your taxes regularly. Is there any other questions that we have? Thank you. We have some thank yous for you, Whitney.
And
Okay.
if anyone has any questions, if they just want to pick my brain, I did put my information in the chat. I'm here to answer any questions.